It's time now for the Todd Leonard Show. Leave those negative stories behind as we focus on the positive and hear from those who give back and help others. Let's start your day with some inspirational stories. Now, here's your host, Todd Leonard.
Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I hope everybody had a great weekend so far and staying safe with the recent snow. I'm so privileged this morning to have Billy and Phylisse Cook on this morning. Billy is just an incredible young man, and we're going to explore with him and his mom, his very proud mom. And our producer, Ellen, made a special guest appearance, so we're very honored to have her on as well. And, this show would mean so much to me. This is the 11th show that we've been able to bring to everyone, and each week we do our best to bring people on that really embody what I think is important, which is to help others, to help the community. And Billy has just blown me away when I learned about Billy's baseballs and what he's been doing since he's 12. And as we go through the show, I think the listeners should really think about this. Is Billy at age 12 started to touch the world, and there's so many wonderful people out there, but people like Billy really, once again, really show, I think, everyone can help out, even such a young age. So good morning to both Billy and Phylisse. How you guys doing?
Good morning.
Thank you again. I know, Billy, you're a little under the weather, but I appreciate you coming out. And I understand when we're done with the show, you're going back to college. So thanks again for coming to speak with us today. So, Billy, each week I try to have a little bit of a background about yourself, about, who you are. I think it helps us all understand kind of the evolution of your life, and even at such a young age. I think it's important. So where are you from?
I'm from Washington Township, New Jersey.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay. You're in college?
I am a freshman attending East Stroudsburg University, studying athletic training.
Oh, good for you. Okay. And Phylisse, just a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Parsippany girl. Grew up here in Morris County.
Ooh, Parsippany.
Yeah, baby. And I went to Hofstra University. I graduated and went into the television community as a graphics and project manager for major networks. And now I raised two amazing boys, and I have a great husband, and I'm a lucky woman.
You are, I have to say, very proud mom. I mentioned that earlier, but I was thinking as I was driving over this morning, I have two little youngsters, 5 and 3, and I was like, wow, God bless, Billy and what he's been able to do at such a young age, which I think is incredible. So Billy, today we're talking Billy's baseballs, and obviously I was curious when I was learning a little bit more about you and what you've been doing since age 12. So why don't we, without further ado, since the probably listeners are Billy's baseballs, what's up? What are we talking about? So tell us a little bit about what happened when you were 12 and the origination, the genesis of Billy's baseballs.
Right. So basically, to start it off, I needed a bar mitzvah project. I was, bumping some ideas around with my mom, trying to figure out a possible project that I could do. Originally, I was thinking I wanted to do something with the military, obviously. Both my grandparents served. One of my grandpas served in the Navy, and my other one was a Coast Guard. So I originally wanted to do something with the military. So originally I was thinking about writing notes and sending them to the troops overseas. But baseball is my passion. It's always been my passion. I always wanted to do something with baseball. And just one day I asked my mom, what if we wrote the notes on the baseballs? And that was where I got the idea, and from there it just took off.
Yeah, you mentioned baseball. I played a little ball back in the day, and I can remember way back, I actually had a chance to go to a professional baseball game as a little guy, and a little funny story. So we ended up being able to go into the dugout, and we got I got an autographed ball, and I was young, so I didn't realize what that meant. I ended up bringing that home and started to play ball with it. And looking back, I wish I kept that in a case somewhere. Would have been worth a lot of loot. But anyway, and God bless, the grandparents for giving back and doing great things for the greatest country in the world. I mean, when I heard about what you were doing and paying tribute to the troops, I mean, what's more important than saying thank you and God bless the troops that do everything they do to keep us safe, and Lord knows in these times, very perilous times, what that means. So having you on. So you were 12 and you obviously needed to do something, for the bar mitzvah, and you came up with the idea of the baseballs, and you mentioned you're a baseball player back then?
Yeah, I played since I was 5 years old, and last year was my last season. I played on my varsity team. So, I played from 5 to 18.
What position did you play? I
was a pitcher.
Oh, yeah?
I also played a little first, and then when I was younger, I played a little outfield as well.
You throw the heat, Billy? What kind of baseball?
I got a good curveball.
He's a lefty, so.
I was a lefty. I got a good pick-off move. I was proud of my off-speed. I was a little crafty. Didn't throw the hardest, but I was definitely a little crafty.
No, nothing wrong with a technician or whatever they call it. That's no problem at all. I was talking about one of the prior shows we had about, I was still friendly with one of the coaches way back in the day. I was on a travel team in Springfield. I grew up in Springfield and right in Union County, and we had a tremendous coaches, and I remember, what a great experience I had playing ball, and back, one of the things we were talking a little bit about Facebook, and Mary Kay, our incredible engineer, actually friended me on Facebook, so I told her I hope we're still friends after the show. It's never great when you get unfriended, so Mary Kay, you're probably listening, don't unfriend me. So getting back to this whole idea, so you started, you and your mom, you're talking about things to do, and obviously, so you started at 12 with this idea. So did it just start? I mean, did you just start asking people to, sign these balls, or how'd you go about it?
Yeah, so at the beginning, the first signing event I ever did was in my own town. It was at Washington Township Day. We bought baseballs, got a couple donated, and we brought it to the event, hoping, we can get 100 signed. That was my goal, actually, at the beginning, was to get 100 signed baseballs. I thought if I could achieve that goal, that I had met my requirement at that time to what I believed was a significant amount of baseballs to send overseas. And the support I got that day was amazing. Everyone was extremely supportive of it. I got to meet, kids that were, 2, 3, 4 years old, and I got to help them with baseballs, and I also got to work with people over the age of 90. So that was kind of my first experience with it, and I fell in love with it right then and there, and that's kind of how it took off ever since then. That was my first event. So
yeah, that's an amazing thing. So, Phylisse, I mean, obviously, one of the things that I love to do is, I try to explore the human condition. Parents, proud dad, and you're a proud mom, and Ellen's a proud mom, and it's incredible. So when this thing first started, it's been a while, a number of years. When you first started, and Billy's like, oh my God, I want to come, help out, and what's more important, help and saying thank you to the troops. What was your first reaction when he was, kind of originating the idea?
Well, it's interesting. The requirements are 10 hours of community service, and we didn't know how we were going to accomplish that because he was so busy with school and baseball and training. So when he came up with this idea, it just needed to be approved by the rabbi and sponsored by an organization. So we did that. And then we went to this first event, and it was heartwarming. And I watched it, watched him flourish, talking to these little kids and talking to these seniors and the mayor of the town. And it was beautiful. But the really cool thing was when the cops and the fire department all came over, and they're all ex-military. They're all veterans. And by the end of the day, he had already booked 2 additional signings, one with the fire department and one with the police station. So it was a germ of an idea. We never had any intentions for it to be more than just the community service hours. And every time we thought we were done, someone would call and say, let's do this again. And that's amazing.
No question about it. I have so much love and respect for the first responder community.
Yes.
Right here in Morris County, we have the 200 Club of Morris County. I'm a very proud board member and trustee, and I think everybody owes a huge debt of gratitude to the first responder community. I mean, Lord knows what they face every day. They never know what they're going to be in the middle of, and they do it so professionally, and we all should at all times say thank you and respect what they're doing. So So in terms of when you first started, so you obviously got bar mitzvah, right?
Right.
And great accomplishment. And at what point did you say, oh my goodness, I know I did this for a project, but I'm something about it. It's caught my imagination. When did you realize that, Billy?
I would probably say somewhere right around my bar mitzvah, the idea came to me that I can't stop this. I think that's really when it hit me that I need to continue this and keep working at it. And I just knew it was such a great thing, and it felt good for me that, what I did so far, and I knew I had so much more. I'd say as soon as my bar mitzvah ended, I told my mom, I was like, I gotta keep going.
And what happened then is that he took $1,000 out of the money he received from his bar mitzvah. We hired a lawyer and turned this into a nonprofit organization. And that opened a lot of doors, a lot of conversations, and it was all his idea. I mean, we, parents with a 13-year-old kid, you have no choice but to continually be involved, but he has led the way from that moment on.
Yeah, I always say to people, I said, everybody disses, say, oh my God, the youngsters, these kids only care about themselves. I'm like, you guys got it all wrong. There's so many remarkable people. When Ellen was telling me about Billy and what he's been doing, I said to Ellen, we got to bring this young man on. I mean, to know more about how he started something so beautiful and wonderful at such a tender age. And I mean, 12, I mean this the kindest way, but at 12, I mean, I'm trying to remember what I was doing at 12, but I doubt very highly my mind was, thinking about doing something so wonderful. So, and I wanted to talk about that. And Ellen, and thank you again,
Thought on this, yeah.
Yeah, well, what was your perspective?
Well, now that I have 3 kids and I'm around children that of, numerous ages, I've learned as a parent, you really can't make kids do a lot. You really can't. So when you have a child, I'm finding it really does come from them. Like whatever your child gives back, whether it's to school, to the community, parents can only push for so long. And there's a point when that child is like, I'm making the decisions. And as a parent, I've even stepped back and I'm starting to I don't want to say let my kids fail a little bit, but you almost have to step back and they have to start owning their stuff. I was going to use a 4-letter word. They have to own it. And when you have a child that, like, this is Billy, like, this is something that he needed to do, he felt to do. And I know Phylisse didn't push him, because I'm learning that kids really, they kind of dictate their path. You guide them. I always say it's like a ball, and you push it a little to the right, a little to, you guide it a little bit.
That's true.
But there's a point where they pick their road. They pick that final path, and it's amazing that at such a young age he was like, I need to do this.
I think kids are encouraged by outside resources too, not just their parents.
Right.
And one of the beautiful things is that Billy got to sit at a lot of tables with adults who have been doing this for years. And when you hear, a grown woman whose child was in the military, some who've lost their lives and some who've come home, and they say thank you to you about your son, and you turn around and say, no, please thank him.
Right.
And they do, and they really mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that encouragement has helped Billy along the way. There's just a really beautiful community of adults out there who want kids to get involved. Mm-hmm. And when they do and they say thank you directly to the kid, you have to step back as a parent and just say, yep.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm learning with raising a kid.
Well, like you said, I mean, I was just so impressed, Billy, about what you've been able to do in, these number of years, of 6 years, and going strong. For those that are listening, if they wanted to get involved with Billy's Baseballs, is there a website? How would they reach out to you?
Yeah, we do have a website, www.billysbaseballs.com. You could also follow us on, we have Twitter as well, but mostly Facebook. We're big on Facebook. Reach out on either pages and Billy's Baseballs at yahoo.com. Billy's Baseballs at yahoo.com. Yeah.
Wonderful. And obviously, I want to make sure everybody knows, because I mean, when I was reading about it, it's like, this is an incredible idea. So when you started this, what did your peers, what did your buddies say, your friends? I mean, like, what's up? I mean, Billy, wait a minute now. 1 minute, you know, you're the southpaw throwing some baseball. This next minute, you're launching this thing. You say, God bless the troops, and let's really give the ultimate thank you to the brave men and women of our incredible country. What's your friend saying?
Right. So I think at the beginning it was a little different. Like you said before, at 12 years old, everyone thought a little differently. So at the beginning, most of my friends just thought it was just a regular project and it was just going to pass by. They thought it was a cool idea, but I don't think they really understood it at the time. Now as we get older, I think they're, you know, seeing what I'm doing and they're like, wow, you're really doing a great thing. But at the time, everyone was like, oh, that's cool. And yeah, my friends have always been extremely supportive of me with this, and it's really nice to know that I have my friends back on this. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I don't think there's 5 friends that you can count that haven't signed a baseball to the troops.
At least 1. I know some of my friends have signed baseballs many times, at least 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's something where what you've been able to do, Billy, is not only touch the military and touch, you know, adults, but your peers, your friends, and such an important example of what it's really about, which is giving back, because that's one of the things that one of my passions in life is to do my best to help others, but also to hopefully motivate folks to get involved, because it's so important to realize we're all in this together, and a lot of people get caught up in their own world. So it's wonderful, not just you reaching out to the whole community, but your peers are getting involved and hopefully seeing what people can do to help others, even at a young age, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely. I think leading by example and showing that, you know, if a 12-year-old can do this, anybody can. I think that especially now, being older, I'm trying to show younger kids that if you find a passion and you want to help out, it is possible. You can help out the community doing whatever you want. You just have to put in your effort, do the work, but it is so much fun and it is so real and you really get a good feeling out of it. I want to say probably out of the last 3-4 years especially, meeting with little kids, just tell me, I always ask them, like, what's your passion? And they would tell me what it is. I'm like, you can do so many things with this. You can help out so many people, and you can do literally anything to help people out with your passion. And that's kind of how I teach, how to spread it.
Yeah, one of the things that Billy talks about when he speaks to little kids, and little kids meaning, you know, 8 to 15-year-olds, is don't just volunteer because you have to. Find something that interests you. Find something that can have longevity so that the volunteering not just meets the expectations of the job that you're doing, but that when you leave, you think, I need to go back there and do more of that because it makes me feel good.
I mean, you know, I think it's so important to have that kind of heart. And but find something you find joy and spirit and passion in, whatever it might be, you know. Am I right, Ellen?
Yeah, well, we talked about that. You said Todd and I will have conversations, you know, during the week about, you know, guests that we're bringing on and what they're involved in. And you and I always say, maybe one day that show will resonate with one of our listeners to get them to get involved. Mm-hmm. So, like, we've had food, you know, not the food banks, we had the food pantry on. And some people, I had talked to people after that show that said that's something that they really want to get involved in. It's local. They feel they can bring their kids on the delivery so their kids can learn. So that touched that person. But today we may find out that a listener is a baseball fan. Maybe they have baseballs they want to donate. Like, you never know. So I know the goal of your show, part of it was to get different people involved in different ideas and to know that there's so many different things out there. Like, not everybody has to do the same charitable
absolutely
work. Sure. You can do time, you can do there's just so that's why this is kind of cool.
No, it is cool.
It is cool. I'm so sorry. Kinda was a little weak of a word. My bad.
All right, I haven't seen you in a few weeks, but yes, it is really cool.
I'm slipping. I'll get back.
You're going to be okay, but you know, okay. No, it's amazing what you're doing. I mean, because once again, you know, I brought on folks. This is my 11th show, and they're all adults, and I haven't brought on someone as young, and it's amazing because that shows such a great example. What I've been preaching and telling everyone is the kids are great. Let's believe in the kids. The kids can do some wonderful things. And Ellen touched on one of the things I love about the show is it talks about the great things going on instead of sometimes the impeachment crisis or this, that, or the other thing and the violence. I'm like, listen, there's great people out there. But going back to what Ellen was touching on is there's so many different things that maybe you find a fire, a passion for. Billy, I was going to ask you about how you think you had that inside of you to love people enough to say, to like the troops, for example, which is beautiful. I want to give back. I mean, I understand it was a project, but there's got to be something more to it. Was it how you were brought up, or was there an example? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, both my grandparents served. So I already had that instilled in me, the love for the military. My parents are both very supportive, with the military as well. So kind of like growing up, I saw like a firsthand example of how important it is, and just being an American, being so thankful for our freedom and everything like that. I think it really wanted me to help, and I think at such a young age, I knew that this was something I wanted to do. Also, I think you learn by example, and it may not be as transparent to a 12-year-old, but Ellen and I grew up together, and our parents were both very involved in the synagogue that we grew up in. I watched my mom and her mom and our dads volunteer, and so I volunteered, and I did tend to do my volunteering towards my children. So I volunteered at our synagogue, I volunteered at their elementary school, and I brought Billy with me to run some programs and volunteer and help out. So I think it's important that you set an example, even if you don't scream, hey, watch me volunteer. Your kids see what you do and they emulate that.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, you don't think your parent, I always, when I talk to other parents, you like trying to tell your kids to do something right, and sometimes they even fight you on it a little. Sure. But when they walk away, when they're not trying to like go up against you and win an argument, there's that moment. I even remember as a kid, you yelled at your mom or you disagreed, but you walked away and you're like, well, I think mom was right. Yeah. I think there's a point there. So I think as parents, you just keep putting it out there, and something's going to stick. Yes. It does. It's going to stick. So do by example. Eventually the kids, they may not tell you that. Do you agree? No, there are times you walked away and you kind of disagreed with mom and dad, but when you walked away, you're like, damn, they're right.
Every time. She's always right, by the way. Every time.
But I think parents, I'm learning even as a mom and dad mom of three, sometimes you don't have to have your kids say, I agree with you, Mom. I think parents worry too much about winning arguments instead of just putting it out there and letting kids, again, it goes back to, I feel like kids have to become their own person. You guide, but there's no forcing. There's going to be a day they leave, and you're not there to punish them and tell them what to do. I don't really punish. I'm not a punishing parent.
I'm not a punishing parent.
But my kids know when they did something wrong, you can live with that. That's you. That's you. That's your. I'm a good person. I'm doing things right. So that's just my style. And I think when you do it right, kids do find their way.
In my house, my wife is always right, but sometimes I don't always show it, just in case she's listening. So I wanted to talk about Phylisse, too, because you're blessed with another really incredible young man, Andy.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit for the listeners, the kind of young man Andy's becoming, because I also was once again really touched by his humanity at such a young age. Tell us a little bit about Andy and what he's doing.
So our synagogue does require this 10 hours of community service, and I am not a believer in just going out there and finding an organization and throwing your 10 hours out and walking away. So by example that Billy set, we asked Andy to come up with a project that would be interesting to him. My father and my mother-in-law both died of cancer, and during the time of Andy's bar mitzvah, a very close family friend came very close. She has breast cancer, and she is surviving right now. But it was very important to Andy to, as Billy wanted to do for the military, Andy wanted to honor those who are suffering through cancer. So we found this fabulous organization called Cancer Care. They're national, but there was a Ridgewood connection for us in Bergen County. And Andy is the most creative individual. He loves cartoony comic books, some a little dark, some a little archy. You know, he's got that mix. And he decided that he would collect books and comic books for children who are suffering either cancer themselves or someone in their family who has cancer. And then that grew to, well, let's just get books for everyone involved in a family who has cancer. And we found large print books. And we were donated a lot of books. We purchased a lot of books. He purchased on his own a lot of comic books, and we worked with multiple organizations, including a Meals on Wheels program, to get books to families who are dealing with cancer or have suffered a loss through cancer. And he, I would say, donated over 8,000 books.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing. You know, sadly, I know cancer too well in my family and lost loved ones, and I know the pain and sorrow, but I also know how important it is to honor those loved ones with what you're doing in your life and to live, obviously, hopefully, a life that gives back, a very caring life. I think that's just a beautiful thing. How old is Andy?
Andy is 16, gets his license in 2 months.
Oh, boy, I saw that face there. How long has he been doing that, helping folks suffering through cancer?
Also since he was 12.
Once again,
yeah.
You know, Phylisse, this is like incredible to see 2 young kids at such an age. And obviously because of what you've taught your kids about volunteerism and giving back and the human spirit, right, to help others, that is a gift. And once again, what Ellen was touching on is, so for Billy Cook, it's baseballs, because that was still important in your life. And with Andy, your young son, to honor those folks who have lost the battle of cancer, and with comic books and those kind of things. So it just proves a point. If you find something that you really care about, I mean, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think I mentioned, Phylisse, one day I'd love to have, you know, your son Andy on, because that's once again the kind of people I want to be around.
Thank you.
One of the other great things about the show is I invite great people on, so maybe it'll rub off a little more.
Let me show up every day. I don't get it.
You know, every now and then I slip up, but you're going to redeem yourself.
Show people what the regular folk look like too, you know.
I won't talk about your skull and crossbone cat, Miss Helen, but once again, you did bring on the cooks.
I did.
And so there is something good about you yet. But, you know, like on a serious note, I think that's so important, you know, to talk about the tradition in the Cook family. Yeah. And there's so many wonderful people out there with the family of tradition of giving back. And I think that's so important, because we had the D'Amicos on. They'd sadly lost their beloved son, Christopher, at such a young age of 10, and they, despite such heartache, just started to give back. The Kindness for Christopher movement. Every chance I can, I plug it. I would scream it to the top of my lungs, because I just love people that give back and just really just keep on going, doing the best they can with what they have, because everybody has stuff that happens in their life, and that's just the human condition. So Billy, you know, I was, you know, preparing for the show, and you guys had sent me all the different messages that are out there, and you know, I just was, wow, I was like, the messages for the people writing on these baseballs. And I have a little bit of a baseball collection of autographs of baseball players, and I hope they're not listening right now. Maybe they are, but I was like, this means a lot more to me with the heartfelt messages to the troops than some pro athlete signing their name on the baseball. And no disrespect, because I collect signed balls, but I thought this meant the world. We're going to take a very, very short break. We're going to be back in 30 seconds with Billy and Phylisse Cook. Thank you.
The Todd Leonard Show is sponsored by the Leonard Foundation, whose mission is to support the children and families who are battling pediatric cancer and those in need of food and assistance, women's shelters, and other important social services in the community. They also proudly support those fighting pancreatic cancer. They feel it's vitally important to help those in need in our amazing community when they need us the most. Please join them in extending a helping hand and go to leonardcharity.org and donate now. Together, we can touch many lives.
Thank you again for coming back to the show. I'm so honored to have Billy and Phylisse Cook, for those just tuning in, incredible people, and Billy has blown away me and the listeners today about his true humanity. So, Billy, you know, we were just before the break, we were talking about baseballs and inscriptions. So maybe you can, if you'll permit, just give us a little bit of an idea what people, so if somebody's listening to the show and they're like, well, what would I put on a baseball to send to the troops overseas, which is, I was like, wow, it's got to be an incredible experience for the brave men and women of our incredible country that are proudly serving. So give us an idea on some of the messages.
Right. So a lot of the popular messages that we usually see on baseballs are thank you for your service, stay safe, come home safe soon. I like to pledge that the simple sayings are always very nice on the baseball. I mean, you can write a lot on it, but I like to stick short and simple. And then, especially with like the little kids, I love to see them draw. They draw on the baseballs, do
like little stick feet, like
American flags, stars, stuff like that. You see that a lot typically from little kids. And then I love when veterans are home, and we've had a couple veterans sign baseballs, and insane to read, but they just say their story, and they say thank you for doing what you're doing, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, when I was like I said, getting ready for the show, and late last night I was kind of going through, you guys were so kind of give me some background information, so hopefully the listeners feel the host is prepared. That would be good. I think they want to know and have some idea what I'm doing. So I was just like really touched by just the simplicity but beauty of the messages, like you just touched on. Thank you for your service. And then I was kind of conjuring up in my mind, well, let's think about the troops that are receiving these. I mean, give us an idea where these brave men and women are located that are receiving these signed, inscribed balls, even just pictures and, very, very short but very meaningful message. Where are these balls going to, Billy?
Right. So, some baseballs, believe it or not, we work with different groups. We give them the baseballs. We actually don't know where some of the baseballs go, but the ones we do know, they do go overseas. We even do send inside the country to base camps, yeah. So we've sent to Afghanistan, we've sent to Iraq,
Kuwait, Japan,
yeah, everywhere.
They've made their way to ships. We don't know where they are, but
we know they're out there.
East, yeah, Germany. So when we started this, we had a connection to a base camp in Germany, and there was a woman there, Esther, who would receive baseballs from us. And I would say within the first 2 years, 2,000 to 3,000 baseballs went directly to her, and she distributed them to a hospital in Germany and on her base camp. So we've sent everywhere: Switzerland, Japan. Mm-hmm. Everywhere.
Yes, just for all of us. So let's assume, Billy, you're getting a signing together here somewhere in New Jersey, the Garden State, and which is our home state, right? We're all born and raised in the Garden State, so a lot of love for New Jersey. How does it work, though? So there's a sign, everybody's signing these balls, but how does it get from New Jersey to Germany or Japan or Iran or Iraq or Afghanistan, all over the globe? How does that work?
Right. So there's a little process that not a lot of people understand that my mom and I have to go through sometimes. Basically, after every signing event, we do look over the baseballs, make sure they're good, and then we package them in a little care package. So inside that care package, you obviously have the baseball, and then we also include like a little letter in it, kind of describing what Billy's Baseballs is. And then sometimes, if we have, we put in a star from a flag that was ripped and torn and can no longer fly. So we also put that in there, and then we package that up and we put it in a box. And once we get a place to ship the baseballs, we ship them right out.
And you cover that. That's all your work.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And once again, for the listeners, I'm sure, like I feel, it's such, proud Americans, certainly. If they want to, get involved, either donate balls or just come out and sign balls or whatever they can do to show their love and respect for the troops. It is really about the troops and Billy Cook's mission to honor them. How would they reach you again?
They could email me. Billie'sBaseballs@yahoo.com. You can, yahoo.com.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter, and then, am I missing one?
There's a direct link on the website, too. There's a little box,
website.
and it says contact us, and you can just...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Good.
Where do you do most of your signings? How do these get set up?
Well, that's, a good question. I think we work with a lot of different organizations that invite us. So, for instance, we go to Stryker every year. Stryker is a place that we get a lot of baseball signed. We work with Marine Moms of Mawa. We work with them there. MSAWI, we do a signing event in New York City, and we do 1,000 baseballs there. It is our biggest event every year, and it is by far the best. You're there like all day long. I did Washington Township Day for a lot. I also worked at a Yogi Berra Museum. Mm-hmm. They would have events for Yogi, especially after his death. They did a lot of stuff with the military there, and they would always invite me, and it was very warming, actually, because I had my bar mitzvah there, believe it or not.
At Yogi Berra Stadium? Oh, great.
Actually, yeah.
In Montclair?
In Montclair, yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Next to Jackal Stadium. So I've done events there. I do many events there. Yeah.
And we've proven over the last 2 years especially that Billy does not have to be present for a signing. So, for instance, the War Veterans of Denver, they did a signing on Veterans Day, and then they took those baseballs and sent them directly overseas. If there's a contact, and again, the reason we don't know where they're going is because an APO or an FPO address is a military address, and it has a location, but it's not divulged. So we don't really know where the baseballs are going. We don't know if they're going to the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard. So we always ask for people to sign the baseball, dear friend, dear hero, not dear soldier, because a Navy person is not a soldier. Right.
Yeah, right. And as you guys walked in, you brought some accoutrements, if I may. Yeah, I saw the proud mom, Phylisse, with the looks like expansive notebook with incredible, photos of things that are, all the thanks and the letters and everything else. And then Billy also, a strapping, handsome young man, brought in also a carrying case. So what do you have in there? I'm just curious. You got something in there.
Yeah, so this is something I bring to every single signing event that I do. Usually it carries all the Sharpies that we bring. Sometimes we do package the baseballs at the signing events. Sometimes I bring baseball cards, believe it or not, and give them out to little kids. There's some flags in there as well. And then every once in a while we got a couple baseballs in there for people to sign.
And those are the proud colors, am I right, of our country?
Yep, it is.
Red, white, and blue?
Yep, it's a flag.
On your website, are there photos and stuff? I'm assuming most of this. I didn't get a chance to look yet, so.
Yeah, they're a little old photos. I'm pretty young in the photos, but yeah, it shows some good photos in there. There's
we need to spend a little time updating, but
I think
college is sort of taken. Yes, we'll definitely get that on there.
Billy, you're still young though, so even though you think you're young in the photos, you're still pretty young to me. We're not going to rub that in right now because some of the listeners might get a Kleenex out. No, but I think it's wonderful, so much love and support for the troops. And that's what I wanted to touch on a little bit as well, is the response you're getting from the actual brave men and women, which really, once again, I was going over this last night late, and I was like, I could just, when I read some of these notes from the service folks, I could feel their gratitude for what you're doing, which is to tell them, we understand what you're doing for us, and it means the world. And I can tell it meant the world to them because just the way they were writing these letters to you. Can you maybe share just a little bit of the responses you're getting in writing from the brave men and women so proudly serving our country?
Yeah, for sure. So when we receive the letters from the troops, it all is just how grateful they are to receive it. When you think about it, they don't think about entertainment out there a lot, So they say how unique the baseball is, how it's so easy. You can put it in your pocket and carry it with you, put it in your bag. They play catch with it on their free time. Just how grateful they are that people from home are supporting them and, just being there for them. It's honestly amazing to receive the letters that we get.
One of the letters we received early on was that when they pack for the military, they don't pack anything to keep themselves entertained. So one of the things that they do is they skip stones, whether it's on water or on land, because stones are around everywhere. And to receive a baseball and have an actual object that you can't go to Walmart and pick up is really cool to them. And they consider the baseball. They get socks and they get, beef jerky and all the items that you would expect to be in a care package. No one expects to receive a baseball, and to have a baseball sent with a note on it telling you that you're important, that we're thinking about you, that you're not forgotten. It's really pretty special.
Yeah, and that's what, when I was reading, I was touched. I mean, like I said, I was, everybody takes it for granted. They don't realize it, because I've had some uncles that served proudly in the military. We don't really talk about it, but I mean, they served, but you really don't understand the sacrifice and just how, they would feel and in terms of their service to the country. But obviously you touched on it, Phylisse, we never want our military to feel they're forgotten. And you talked about, something as basic as a baseball provides so many different things for the brave men and women, right? It's number one, to give them something to do. They can throw the ball around, right, instead of skipping rocks. But also, it's these notes, and it touches the heart. It has to. You could tell some of the notes are written from young people, right? They're like little drawings on it, and it's really incredible. And there's a collage, and I know we keep on talking about your website, but I would invite everyone to go onto the website and see just these incredible inscribed messages, like "Dear Hero, thank you for your service," with a heart. I mean, it's something like that, has to make them feel good, because they're not forgotten.
Right.
And every letter that I read seems like to the person says the same thing. But they also say, Billy, how incredible you are. Mm-hmm. And what you're doing. And I was I wanted to touch on that a little bit more. When you get these notes for the listeners, because obviously, as Ellen hopefully touched on, maybe it'll motivate some folks to do something, whatever their passion is. How does that make you feel?
I'm not gonna lie, it's a little weird. I'm just so thankful for what they're doing. This is the least I could do. And honestly, that's truly saying that. I think it's, they put their life on the line every single day for us to have our freedom. For me to package a baseball and send it to them, just to take their mind off it for just 1 second. Right. It means the world.
Your mom is so proud of me. Phylisse, what more would a mom want to be able to hear? And that's one of the things why I was so excited about the show, because I'm into families. I miss my parents dearly, and that's why I love the opportunity to give you, Phylisse, a chance to really hear about, how I, number one, feel, and Ellen feels about your son and what your son's about, because that's special.
Yes.
That's a special person out there, because once again, at age 12, I probably was maybe focused on girls, I'd have to remember, but probably knowing myself, I'm pretty sure about that. And sports. But probably not about giving back the way Billy's been doing.
What fascinates me is Billy's like, it's the least I could do is take hours out of my day and week to package. I mean, we've all wrapped gifts. I mean, it's exhausting to package. And he's like, we've sent 1,000 baseballs. So it's not like he packaged 4 and then went back to his video games. Right. And no, Billy, there's a lot of kids out there that just want to get to their video games, to their friends on TikTok. You make it sound so simple, like, it's the least I can do and just take the time. But I know a lot of kids, and not a lot of kids have that insight at such a young age to say, I'm better than this, I can do more. So it is amazing. I know you're very it's no big deal. But there's a million moms and dads out there going, God, I wish I could break through to my kid and say, there's more. There's more to your cell phone and your videos and your friends. Sometimes you just gotta take that time. And I have 3 kids, and out of my 3, I even know some more than others have that foresight. So it's a big deal. You should be really proud of yourselves, and hopefully you'll have a family one day where you create more cute little monsters that can do this. You know what I mean?
Please.
Yeah, but to kind of go on what you said.
Mom said, please. I heard that. Not yet, though. She's not ready yet.
Right.
Ellen, this is why I get nervous bringing you back on. We're at a high moment. Now you're worried about her, about, the mom hearing about
some
kids. Yeah,
looking out for me.
Looking out for her.
He's a handsome young man, but he's all, what are you, a freshman there, Billy?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's give him a little time. Look at Billy, back. Don't let Ellen, ruin your thoughts there, okay?
Yeah, so kind of to go what on you said, I'm a regular 18-year-old. I play video games. I play sports. I do watch TikTok all the time.
It's great.
I love it. I'm a regular 18-year-old kid, and I still find time to do all this. This is just showing you can do it. You can be a regular kid and still do something like what I'm doing right now.
It's amazing.
Yeah, well, I think, look, it's a little embarrassing to hear from us, but you're not just a regular kid, and it's beautiful what you've been doing for all these years now, 6 years. It's just really special. And I understand even, when you were in school and you were playing basketball, but you had a priority, a commitment to the Billy's baseballs. Did you sacrifice to continue to give back even though you had basketball?
Yeah, for sure. I had to. It was just something I had to do, and unfortunately I had to give up some hours, but it was worth it, for sure.
It was actually your second MSAWI event in Manhattan and your basketball finals in town, and you had to make a choice, and we let you make the choice. And that's why I say you always lead us. Like, as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, you can't get there on your own. We have to support it. But nothing that we ever did wasn't by your lead.
Yeah, for sure.
And once, like I said, the sacrifices are, they're really beautiful, what you've been able to do to really just focus on others as much as, we don't want to make you feel embarrassed. It's a beautiful, wonderful thing, Billy, you've been doing. I realize also that it has not gone unnoticed. And you received, I was going through it and I was like, wow, this young man's got a lot of awards he's received already. And I'm sure many more to come, Billy. And it's interesting because since you are 18, you got your whole life in front of you, but you're off to a tremendous start. And I have to share this. I love people that are humble and kind, and you're definitely very humble, and there's no question you're kind. So I think that's a beautiful thing. I really do admire people like that aren't beating their chest. They go about helping others, not looking for the recognition, but you've been recognized many times. And Phylisse, we were, when we were getting prepared for the show, he's gotten so many different awards. Are there any that really stand out in your mind that, not to make you cry again, but something that you felt like, wow, I'm doing something right. Billy's really special and giving back.
I think the Prudential Spirit of Community Award was probably the most exciting. They had 33,000 applicants, and they take a middle schooler and a high schooler from each state plus DC. So 102 students are honored, and out of 33,000 applicants, Billy was chosen as the middle school student. I'm going to pass this to Billy to talk about, because the experience itself, the award was wonderful, but the experience is great because they bring you down to DC for a weekend, and they get these counselors, and you're grouped together with these 102 kids to do tons of activities, and they take you to the most amazing places, and you get these dinners with speeches, and Robin Roberts actually gave him his award, which was really
that was special.
Amazing. But you want to talk about the most special part of that weekend?
Yeah, I would say I got to lay the wreath at the at
the Tomb of the Unknown.
Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, sorry. And that was an insane moment for me. There were thousands of people there, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous. I had to literally just lay the wreath, and I was afraid I was gonna drop it. But that moment itself was special. Super humbling experience to be able to do that, especially I had someone next to me. Her name is Kenzie. She's also from a military family. I also got to do it with my friend NJ, who lives in Florida. We're still buddies, so I got to do it with him as well. And it was an amazing experience. I got to do that. I got to meet with Cory Booker, with the high schooler AJ, who was also from New Jersey, and I got to speak with him and meet people that work with him. We got a whole signing event for people in his office, and that was amazing.
And he represented the whole state of New Jersey, which is really amazing. He was honored at his school. They gave him an award at the school so his friends and his family and his teachers could all attend. And that was pretty special, too.
Really special.
Well, I'll say one thing. I'm proud to be living in New Jersey. I have Billy Cook representing us.
That's right.
Because this is the kind of beautiful things going on in New Jersey. I wanted everybody to realize there's some amazing folks here. So going to that period of time, so, talk about thanking the military is going there, Arlington National Cemetery, and to show the utmost respect, incredible. I mean, meeting Senator Booker, meeting so many other folks, and also the friendships you've developed, which is cool, right? I mean, you're talking about people you never would have met in your life, and then boom, you're meeting these people, and they're all wonderful like you. And one thing I've learned in life is you hang around good people, usually going to be okay.
Sure.
And that's just the way it is. And I know growing up, I mean, obviously people you hang out with kind of reflects on you. You're hanging out with good people, you're usually doing good stuff. You're hanging out with people you're really not too sure about, it usually ends up maybe being a problem. So I think it's wonderful you have such great new friendships you're developing. So when you were 12 and you had the germ of the idea, and you had your first baseball that was signed, and you're getting close to how many baseballs now, Billy?
We're approaching 20,000 in May, hopefully.
In May we'll surpass it.
In May, that's the plan, to pass it.
And that's the beauty of life, is you have no idea when you start something what's going to happen. I mean, this is once again the mysteries of life, the good, the bad, things that'll happen to you as you get older. You'll see things will happen you never saw coming, some good, some bad, but that's just life. But to see what you've done at such a younger age is incredible. In terms of that moment when you're at Arlington National Cemetery and laying the wreath and showing the utmost respect, did you ever envision when you were 12 that you would be selected to represent New Jersey and be able to be so honored?
Never. I didn't. I think that, I put in a lot of work to get to where I am, and I was just super thankful for the opportunity given by Prudential. Super blessed to have done that, and it's definitely a moment I'll never forget. But I mean, I worked hard to hopefully win that award, and I'm very thankful that they chose me, and it's a moment that I'll definitely never forget.
So what was that your senior year that you got the award?
No, he was in middle school.
Yeah, that was my 8th grade year.
Oh, wow. All right. So what happens? You're like in 8th grade and, you're getting recognized. What's your friends like? Wow. What goes on with that?
Yeah. My friends thought it was really cool. I think at the beginning I was like, guys, I'm going down to DC. This is going to be so cool. And then, when I got back, I got to tell them all the stories of the things I did, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were doing all that stuff."
Right, so now it sounds cool. Maybe I should have stepped it up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So, a lot of the things I did down there were just, once in a lifetime opportunities that I was just super thankful for. Right. They all thought it was great.
Well, and it is great. And, I saw you have the Gold Presidential Award, over 100 hours of service each year. You've done that over 6 years. The Russ Berry Making a Difference Award, the North Jersey Regional Crime Prevention Officers Association Exceptional Citizen Award. I mean, there's so many different awards that you've received. Being honored in the Jewish News, and just so many different things that you've been selected. Also the Marine Moms. I mean, the Semper Fi recognition. I mean, the brave Marines. I mean, that's respect, right?
Sure.
With the Marines got your back. I mean, we have their back and we love everything they do. But there's so many different awards out there. I wanted to talk also before we conclude our very, very, I think, great show. I'm a little biased and it's been a great show. How it's helped the community, with what you've been doing over the 6+ years.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Sure. I was just kind of wanting to see what your thoughts are on what you're doing, how it's helped the community.
Right. Well, I think just from what I'm doing, I'm kind of showing that everyone can help in any way possible, and if you want to help the community out in any way, I think all you need to do is just start and take it one step at a time, and you'll get to where you want to be.
We always say that the baseball has the giver and the receiver. So on the community side, the giver gets to participate. No one really knows how to say thank you to someone personally in the military, unless you have someone who's in the military in your family or your friendship circle. But the baseball gives a very, blank canvas for you to be grateful. And then Billy takes care of getting it there. So I don't think when you're handed a baseball and you're asked to write a note on it, especially in an event where you're not planning to be there for that purpose, like a fair, that you have any idea what that impact means to you. We've heard people say thank you to Billy because that meant a lot to me to be able to say thank you. So locally, anywhere, to be able to say thank you to someone who's serving our country, I think that's a blessing as well. And Billy gives that resource.
And I was thinking when you said 20,000.
Yeah.
So there's 20,000 people that received this baseball, and you don't know who you touched that day.
Nope.
Like, it could have just been a normal day for someone who's like, oh, this is so great. Mm-hmm. And it could have been someone who was really down and out that day, who just kind of needed a faraway pat on the back. And so we've learned on all of these shows that you don't always know how you touch someone. You really don't, because we've found out later after some of the other guests came on that they got notes like months later about that one touch point changed everything. And you've sent out 20,000 touch points. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you're young now. You don't understand that life can be really, some days can be really like lonely and scary.
And this is impactful.
And hugely impactful, even though you don't always get to see it. Mm-hmm. They're out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I go back to the D'Amico people, beautiful, beautiful people from Mount Arlington, and Chris spoke about the ripple effect, about, you do something nice for someone, you have no idea what that might mean for them. A kind word, a thank you, being nice, opening a door, paying it forward, whatever it might be.
Yes.
But you just don't know. And Ellen touched on it too. But think about the brave men and women in the military. They could be having a tough day. I mean, their lives are on the line. We're sitting here in the studio trying to do a great show, but they're protecting us.
Right.
And you don't know their morale. You don't know how they're doing. And then all of a sudden, boom, they get a baseball from some stranger saying, thank you, God bless. That's got to raise morale. And I know it does, because I read countless letters where all these folks are saying, you don't know that means so much. And they're obviously also thanking you, Billy, for this incredible idea. Mom, I got to go to you, Phylisse, again. I mean, so your son's been doing this 6+ years, and he's young. He's got the whole life in front of him. But what does it mean to you and your husband, Stephen, and your other son, Andy, to see what a great young man he's turned into?
It means more than I can express. We laugh that I read these letters out loud and I can't get through them without crying. These letters from grateful military personnel. But it's gone further than that. I mean, Billy went to ESU and within 2 weeks was volunteering with an organization to go clean up parks. And he volunteered to go clean someone's home, an elderly person's home, with an organization there. So we've instilled in him the value of being a good person and putting yourself out there. So Billy's baseballs will continue, but I just hope that he finds it in his heart to be good to people, period, as he grows. And
Absolutely. So everyone, I wanted to once again thank the Cooks, Billy and Phylisse, for coming on today.
Thank you for having us.
It's my really, truly honor to have you here. Tomorrow's Martin Luther King Day, and we should all think about what he stood for, which he believed in love and togetherness and respect and fairness, and everyone can be great. Everybody can. And I hope this show today proves once again there's some amazing, kind people out there together making a difference. Next Sunday, we're going to honor the troops further, having Operation Jersey Cares on with some incredible people giving back. I want to wish everyone an incredible rest of this weekend, and I hope you join us next Sunday. God bless.